I started in alarms in 2008 and 18. And I remember it was like right before my mission, and I was like, I'm going to do summer. And I go out and knock and make like, 20 grand or whatever. I only worked for like 2 months, and it was like, oh, like way better than every other 18-year-old kid. Did you make more money than all your other friends?
Oh, yeah.
So they're all like, you got gas money. You know what I mean? And you're just like, okay, like you're going to keep milking me like because I'm the only one of us that has money. Like, you guys want to go bowling? No, we don't have money. You're like, I still want to go bowling. Like, you know what I mean? That was me, right? And, I remember, so I went on a mission, came back, did it again one summer, and then I was like, I am so done. I don't want to be that door-to-door guy forever. And I think a lot of people get that mindset, right? Like, they're just like, no way would I be caught dead knocking doors as like my job. You know what I mean? Like, how old are you?
I'm 35.
35, right? Like, you don't call mom and be like, Mom, I'm getting back into door-to-door sales. And she's
They
like,
always told me to get a real job.
yeah, get a real job. Exactly. It's like you go to college, you graduate and you get a real job. And that was my mindset, right? And so I remember driving home from Austin, Texas, and it was my second summer, and that year I did pretty well, but I was like, I still was in this mindset of like, I'm going to get a real job. And I remember crossing the border of Texas and into New Mexico, flipping off Texas, being like, never again, I don't have to knock any more doors. You know what I mean? Did anybody have that feeling? Like when they're done with the summer, it's like, I am done. I am so done. The last thing I want to do is go knock another door. And so, I called the owner. I mean, it'd be like you guys calling Ben and being like, yeah, Ben, I appreciate your opportunity. I was with you guys for a couple of years and moving on, And then Ben looks at you and he's like, so what are you going to do? You're like, I don't know, anything but knocking doors. That's all I got to say. You know what I mean? It's just like anything but. And so I was like, I'm going to, start searching for jobs, and I'm going to school, and I'm going to study business and, business administration. And everybody's like, what the hell is that? Like, if you really think about it, I'm going to be in business management. I'm going to get my degree, and I'm going to go to these chemistry classes. I'm going to go to the biology class. I'm going to get straight A's. I'm going to, go to internships. I got to get an internship. I just made 80 grand. And I'm now, thinking about free internships with, some software company. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, wait a minute. So the owner's like, Sam, can I just meet up with you one more time before you just make any real harsh decisions? And this moment, which may be the moment that you're having right now, and you don't even realize it, because hindsight's 20/20, right? If I wouldn't have taken this meeting and just pissed off and been like, nah, screw you, I'm done door to door, I don't, what do we have to talk about? Who knows where I would be right now? He sits me down and he says, I want you to manage. And I was like, what? I told you I was so done with this, dude. He's like, I want you to manage. And Keith looks at me and I was like, me? I had just been a sales rep, you know what I mean? I was like, I made money and sold and went home and, did my thing. And he's like, no, but I really think you have the characteristics, the drive to be able to recruit a team and make real man money. And I want to map out a 5-year plan for you. 5 years? No, we're talking I don't got no 5 minutes left. I don't want to think 5 years. No, just hear me out. And I said, I really think you need to take this a lot more serious. And I said, okay, I'll hear you out, but don't promise anything. And after this whole 2-hour meeting, me locked in his office, just him being really good at what he does, probably, me being this young punk that's still lost in translation. And after 2 hours of meeting with him, he mapped out a very, very clear path. He's like, if I can help you get to 15 solid dudes, this is what you can make in overrides. I believe you've half-assed your first 2 years, and I think you have way more in you. I did 160 accounts or whatever that year. And which is pretty good I did alarm systems. So, and I was like, well, now you're speaking my language. He's like, I don't want you to make 80 grand. I want you to make 300 grand. 300 grand? Dude, I'm just what? I was that's a lot of money. This is 2008 when the dollar was, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but, I still feel like I'm 12. But he mapped this out, and I was like, okay, I'm in. So I start recruiting my buddies, call up all my buddies, and they had known that I'd made good money. You know what I mean? They'd watch me being like, what's up? I'm gonna go buy a house. And I bought a house. You know what I mean? It's like, you just bought a house? Like, how, right? And I get all my buddies on board, and we start doing some preseason trips. So I definitely recommend doing some kind of preseason blitzes. Some of them had some success. Some of them were like, nope, not my thing. That's part of the job, and you got to be okay with that. But I believe that everybody in door should at least try door for 6 months. Like, I truly believe, I don't care who you are, how ugly, how nerdy, how cool you are, how sporty, how not sporty, how outgoing or not outgoing. I just did a podcast with a guy that knocked doors in Australia for like 10 years yesterday. And, you know, he wrote a book called The Introvert's Edge, and it's about selling as an introvert. I thought it was really interesting. So it's like all about introverting selling. And you know, and I was like, I don't care if you're an introvert or an extrovert. I think the lessons learned in door-to-door are invaluable, and I think everybody should at least give it a shot, right? So I had this mindset. And the first summer, I take about, 10 of my buddies out. I kind of co-managed with the guy. And a lot of them did really well. I actually worked out with one of them this morning, like my best friend, right? We grew up here in Park City together. And he's still my friend, even though he didn't come back. He only made it like a month in. He did really well. But guess what? He's still my friend, right? A lot of you guys think, like, if I recruit my friend and he doesn't do well, he's not going to be my friend anymore, right? And we get this mindset that we're like, I don't want to be that guy that's like, call my buddies and they don't come out, or they do come out, and whatever. I just worked out with him this morning, still my friend. And but he had a serious depression issue. Like, he killed it. But a month in, he was like curled up in fetal position on his bed, and I'm like, dude, like, he's like, I know I'm good at this, I just can't get myself to go out. Has anybody experienced that? Has anybody experienced, like, either personally or seen a rep or had that much anxiety? And he came home early from his mission, and I knew that it was something he dealt with, but I didn't understand it. Like, for me, I'm like very yellow, very positive. Like, I have a very different DNA, right? And I just kept being like, dude, you're a pussy. Like, just pull it up. Let's go. Like, that was my approach. Like, and then I had other buddies that were sucking, and I'm like, come on, I'm selling like 2 or 3 a day. Like, what are you doing? And I had this like pissed off, like, let's go mindset. I had a really good year. I doubled in sales. I went from 160 to 300 sales. And my guys all did pretty well. And so then we finished that summer, and then it was like, and these are stories I don't tell much. And so this is like fun. I'm telling the story because it's applicable. You'll get the point. And so I was like, all right, let's go. Let's grow. You're going to manage. And then guess how many people came back that next year? 0. And I was like, what? Like, why are you guys not wanting to do this again? Like, what the freak? Like, you guys make good money. Like, I know Andrew didn't like do well, but he's okay. Like, and he had to go home, and I'm just like, come on, guys, like, let's go. And I couldn't get him to buy in for the next year. And I learned a very, very expensive, valuable, probably a very important lesson that will forever carry with me. Was I learned that just because I was a good salesman didn't make me a great manager. So then I was like, oh, I should probably pick up the leadership books. I should probably study the guys like John Maxwell and, Coach Wooden and, all the sports coach books and all the, I said, what is the psychology of team, not just the psychology of selling? Because raise your hand if you've read like a sales book. You haven't read a sales book? Okay. No? Dude, we got to change that, my man. You got to read, dude. Leaders are readers. You want to be successful in this? Guys, I remember when I got married, it was like I could count 3 books. Sam I Am, Harry Potter, the Book of Mormon. I don't even know if I read the whole thing. But it was like, I'm like, yeah. And I just cheated all through high school, let's be honest. And so somebody was like, you need to start reading. And I was like, if I want to make real man money in this business, I need to start like being a leader. I need to start consuming. Like, I listened to a podcast the whole way up, Tim Story and Ed Milet. And it was awesome, by the way. I'm interviewing Tim's story today, so I was like, I need to do some homework on him. And I started saying, okay, how do I be a better leader? Because like a salesman can only make so much in this business. You could make 200, 300 grand selling maybe at tops, right? Like I don't know many people in a summer that make much more than that. But I said, would I rather make 100% of my own money on me or 10% of 100 people below me? Does that make sense? And I learned the power of leverage. And I realized I made good money overrides that year, but I was like, oh crap, I gotta go restart and rebuild and create a bunch of new team. And so I was committed to that, did it again. And 50% of those people the next year came back. I was like, woo, we're seeing improvement. I didn't get them all back. And I was like, yes. So then I had the next year, a couple teams. I those 50 people or 50%, I split up. I had about 20 guys and I had about 10 guys that were like solid people that I could say, okay, I'm gonna break out. And I think that's where Ben's at right now. It's like, these are my 10 guys that it's like, let's go. You know what I mean? He's in a spot where he's like, I really trust these people. And he was kind of expressing this to me. And I see some like potential in them. And I want to help turn them into the next regionals, the next VPs, the next, growth in this. And, looking back, if I would have, I explained this wall thing. If I would have stayed attached to hindsight, I probably would have been like, I'm just not a manager. Because I would have looked at my past that first year and been like, yeah, it's not for me. Like, I'll just keep selling, not deal with the headache. And I made great money. I mean, I sold 300 deals personally. I finished 8th in the company out of thousands of salespeople. And I could have selfishly been like, let's go make a ton of money that way. But I had this foresight, just like my dad buying this blank mountain of like, okay, I see a version of me. I could look over this wall that I couldn't see yet. And I could see the future of like, okay, if there's other people in this industry that are making $1 million at a young age, I'm 5'10" white, like I'm not a professional athlete. Where else could I go make professional man money, but still but through this vehicle, right? So I said, this is a vehicle that's so unique that you can make professional athlete money at a young age in a short amount of time. Business management at college did not teach me that. They were like, go work at Merrill Lynch and like work your way up the ladder. It was like I'm going to lunch with one of my best friends out of Park City. He's like working there right now. And I was like, hey, let me take you to lunch. I'll be up in Park City. He literally works at Merrill Lynch. And this is the text. I will read it right now. And I tried to get him. He never sold with me. I tried. And his dad's super successful. He grew up in the colony. He's like drove a freaking nice truck and everything. Like all in high school, he was kind of spoiled kid. And he goes, I'm the bitch at work though, lowest on the totem pole by a long shot. I'm supposed to take 30 minutes tops. That was this morning. I never want to send that text message to anyone. Am I right or am I right? Say yes. Does any of you guys ever want to send that text message? I'm the bitch at work though, lowest on the totem pole by a long shot. He's 30 years old, trying to work his way in the finance game. And he's the lowest on the totem pole still. Do you realize you get to dictate where you're at in the totem pole with this job? Who's in control of where you stand on a totem pole in this job?
We are.
No one else. I don't care if you're a first year. I look at, if this is your second year going back, I go, that doesn't mean you can't be a Golden Door winner. That doesn't mean you can't be somebody that outperforms everybody. I literally interviewed a girl 2 days ago on my podcast, and she was top rookie at a security company, big security company, has like 500 people, and she did more accounts than most people. She's in the top 10 in the company. Oh, it's her first year. And she's a girl. And a lot of people are like, well, girls can't be top in the industry. I'm like, who said they can't? And she's like, yeah, who said they can't? And she's like, I've never done door-to-door, but I just didn't call myself a rookie. I just called myself a sales rep. I didn't call myself a first-year manager. I called myself just a manager. Who's to say you don't have to choose to be, you make the conscious decision to either be the low man on the totem pole or the high man on the totem pole. Does that make sense? You guys getting what I'm saying? So what ends up happening is when we can see past this little wall, instead of get attached to just being like you're getting comfortable at looking at the unknown, instead of getting comfortable at looking at the past, that's how you truly progress fast in this business. So I go on to have some successful teams. Then I managed, at one point I was managing 100 and something people in solar and made a lot of money in this business. And it doesn't matter. It's interesting. Alarms, solar, pest control, roofing. Heck, 2 days ago I was with a window company. Doing great. It's funny. People ask, they're like, oh, is pest control the right industry? I'm like, yeah. I know dudes making millions of dollars in pest control. And I know sales are making, like for me, the widget's a widget. Like there wouldn't be thousands and thousands of pest control dudes out in the country if it wasn't legit. They would all quit. It's about how you operate as an individual and leader in this space is what's going to dictate your earnings.